Lord. Yeah. All right. Yeah, share the live, share the live, share the live. We are outside of Balisier House. The meeting has just concluded. Members are coming out of Balisier House. You're seeing different people coming out. And we are bringing this thing live to you. Let me just flip the camera so you will see. Everybody seems to want to pass to the next video. So the meeting has officially ended, and members of the General Council coming out. So, and we see in different ministers. So, all right, so we are having a press conference. Yeah, that'll be good. Good. Hi there.
I see a power.
Yeah. So we just waiting for the press conference. Oh, what more to buy? What would you I just can't understand media too. Yeah, I bounce up central media.
Oh,
I never see. I see tell them that as media. International too. So we have a convention in June this year. So, and it don't look like they're having any audit report. So that look that dives out of the door. So we waiting to hear the press conference what they will be saying. Yeah, good night. So share it up. Let me build it quick. They FAFO. This is FAFO night. Look the cross. Look the cross coming. Hey, good night, Miss Betty. All right, so we are here. So members of the General Council coming out from Balisier House, and I don't know why they try to run from the media. I don't know why. The camera just pick up a billion miles away. but it's run from the media. I don't know why. All right, so members are coming out from the General Council. Okay, Mr. Balima Barrage is coming out also. Okay.
Come on, media.
Hey, Mr. Walcott. All right, we're going to the press conference. Oh, no.
Come to the back.
Down to the back. All right, so going to the press conference. Down to the back. So share up the lights quick. Tell the people we have the press conference. You know how to go the up in the front. I want to get my little seat up in the front. I ain't going to that. So you know in the front. You gotta take it in the front.
I'm telling you, this seat is like it was the best seat in the whole world. I never had a seat so good in my life. Oh, I'm never all this time. Oh,
Yes, even the young, strong ones, they could stand. He's good. Oh, yes. Try that thing. For once. Yes.
You're ready? You're ready? You're ready? Ladies and gentlemen of the media, before we officially start, if you just give us 1 minute, our public relations officer, Mr. Faris Ravi, will take us through this post-special general council meeting. Okay, so if you just give us for a couple of moments. Yes, and we'll be ready.
I know what that's correct.
Okay. Ready? Okay.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here. We are live at Balisier House, and we are collecting recording devices as a first support. There you go. Thank you so much for being with us. Good evening. I am here to report on the decisions of the General Council's special meeting which we had today. So we convened a special General Council meeting. We convened a special General Council meeting specifically to discuss the agenda items of taking us an internal election. I had the pleasure of moving a resolution in my name, was seconded, and it was debated at length at the General Council this evening. And I'm very pleased to say that we had a full debate which led to the decision. That was a decision of all save 2 reservations. 2 persons abstained. There were at least over 100 plus persons in the room. So it was largely fairly almost unanimous, save for 2 people. There were no dissenting voices at all. What we did today is we resolved that the General Council summon a special convention to be held on Sunday, June 29th, for the specific purpose of election of all the officers of the movement, being the following officers: the political leader, chairman, vice chairman, lady vice chairman, general secretary, assistant general secretary, treasurer, education officer, public relations officer, labor relations officer, elections officer, field officer, welfare officer, youth officer, operations officer, and social media officer. That's 16 officers. We specifically said that the General Council will accept the resignation of all officers of the movement effective on the election of the respective successors to such office pursuant to the holding of the special convention. What does that mean? Office holders will continue in office until their successors are elected. So they will only go out of office on Sunday, June 29th. We have specifically also agreed, in keeping with our precedents of how we do one man, one vote, that the taking of the ballot for the election of all of the officers will be executed at each of the 41 constituencies on Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. So to explain that, we do the ballot the weekend before the convention. The result of the ballot is then taken to the convention, and at the convention, the election is perfected. So we're in keeping with our Constitution of the People's National Movement. We have specifically said that and the General Council resolved, and it was put in place, that there's an election supervisory committee to be constituted, and that they would be authorized to issue such rules and regulations and govern the elections, including but not limited to the verification of the list of electors. The General Council considered and heard the name of 17 persons, being the very same 17 persons who were constituted as the election supervisory committee under then political leader and Prime Minister Dr. Rowley, when we were scheduled to have the November elections. So we have kept the same persons. They had actually done quite a bit of work in advance in preparation for the November 2024 internal elections, and those same 17 people are continuing as the election supervisory committee. They have the power to co-opt people if necessary. We have also resolved, and the General Council agreed, that every member of the movement standing on the register of members as verified and certified by the election supervisory committee shall be eligible to vote in the election of all officers. And in keeping with our normal provision in short elections such as this, we've waived the requirements of financial wholesomeness, that is that you're financial in the books for participation in the election. So we waive that as we did in every election prior. The election supervisory committee was also authorized to take any steps necessary to cause the election. Now, if I put this into context, the People's National Movement, on the passing of the late Eric Williams, on George Chambers losing an election and coming into opposition, on Dr. Rowley taking over from Mr. Manning, and then on Dr. Rowley's now going out of office position, we have always had a special election, a special convention. We have had a special convention in some instances 1 month and a couple of days after that. So we are in keeping with our precedent. That is the precedent at every single occasion where the PNM has had to choose a political leader in urgent circumstances. One, the death of Eric Williams, and two, when the reign was passed from George Chambers to Mr. Manning, from Mr. Manning to Dr. Rowley, and now on this occasion, in keeping with that, from Dr. Rowley to whomsoever shall be the political leader. It's a one man, one vote in accordance with our constitution, and we therefore expect that there will be a vibrant participation. The General Council had robust discussions about things floating in the public domain, about the need to have the settling of political leader. We felt, and our discussions included, that the offices of political leader really ought to coincide with other offices, in this case specifically the leader of the opposition. The country, of course, saw the first in time experiment with a political leader being someone different from a prime minister, and I think it's fair to say that we were judged properly by the vote on April 20th as to what that experiment ended in. So there was a lot of very vibrant discussion. In fact, there were some very positive things and some very robust things said as well in the discussions. But people at the mic, several persons complimented the fact that there was a very open discussion and a very inclusive discussion. Our chairman, Dr. Gadsby Dolly, chaired the meeting, the general secretary as well, and the assistant general secretary. Of course, the anomaly is the fact that the leader of the opposition does not sit in leadership of the party. And that is therefore something that we're very concerned to put right as quickly as possible. The leader of the opposition declared that she would be seeking the post of political leader, and all of the speakers this evening certainly recommended and gave their support for that position. The leader of the opposition also acknowledged that it is a very open democratic process, this election for political leader, and that all contenders are welcome. So all in all, we have done what we are accustomed to do. We are accustomed in doing. We have scheduled a quick election for our political leader and all officers of the movement. The resignation of all officers of the movement is something important to note, because some offices actually don't expire until 2026. So all persons are bringing forward their resignations to be effective at the convention. We'll do the ballot the weekend before the convention across 41 constituencies. There will be a robust campaign in respect of that. And I think that we're very interested in making sure that that happens. Some of the discussion involved the truthful observation that a leader of a political party is an essential office. And it is essential for us to equip, in this case, it is my personal ambition to equip the leader of the opposition as the political leader. Because you can't be confined to only speaking in that capacity as leader of the opposition and in parliament. You want to have the ability to speak as the leader of the People's National Movement. We're in a very different situation from the turnout in 2010. In 2010, the swing vote went with the UNC, the then People's Partnership. The votes crossed the floor. On this occasion, it's very noticeable that votes stayed home, so that there was no endorsement necessarily, if you want to look at it that way, of the UNC. Fact is, a loss is a loss is a loss, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say that it wasn't anything other than a comprehensive loss. But the point is that there is a lot to be done in the party in seeking to encourage persons who stayed home to come back to look at us in a different way. Some of the younger members this evening spoke about the need for inclusion and the articulation of voices and, you know, the change that is desired to be seen in the People's National Movement. And definitely that is something that is in active gear and work. So that in a nutshell is what happened today. It's an important occasion for us. It meets with the precedent of what we've done as a party. Certainly back in 2010 was the closest example when this happened. And we are looking forward to our convention. May I take your questions? I said personal, yeah. Yes. If I catch where you're going and if I want to be clinical, an office isn't necessarily a person. I've said that my personal ambition is to support Penelope Beckles-Robinson, the leader of the opposition, as the political leader. That's my personal ambition. In the case of the General Council was very clear. The experiment of splitting offices, prime minister away from political leader, it's unprecedented. In fact, I can tell you in my own research, the only time that you've seen that was in war-torn cabinet of the United Kingdom, 1942 to 1945. That's the only example in the Commonwealth. And didn't work. So the General Council stayed true to its purpose. Their endorsement was that there ought to be unity of the offices, political leader and leader of the opposition. I wouldn't say so. The most important thing is that it doesn't stifle democracy. Let me take you back to the bound to fail experiment of Karen Nunes Teixeira running against Dr. Rowley. She still ran. Commendably, she had the courage to run in that election and democracy went to work. I mean, she's to be complimented for having that courage and not being daunted by the fact of what some people thought was a bound to lose scenario. So I don't think that that stops democracy. The Election Supervisory Committee will deal with all of those matters. I don't have the particulars to speak to those just yet, but they have done a lot of work already in preparation for the November election that was cancelled or adjourned, whichever way they wanted to describe it.
But
some game changers or something like that. Yes. There was some reference to that. In fact, Mr. Imbert made the observation. He's somebody who declared that he had been in politics for 38 years. He said that the airing of dirty linen is not a new phenomenon. There was reference back by other members of the General Council to Dr. Rowley's own writings in his book, and then his statements into the parliament. That's Dr. Rowley, I commend for his democracy and his strident position he took then. But there was a reference to the fact that you can speak your mind. But what Mr. Ingwood pointed out to the General Council is it's the first time we're seeing people do it anonymously in the PNM. In fact, it's my view that that could very well be a UNC occasion. I'm saying what Mr. Ingwood said. He was pointing out that usually when people speak in terms of what they have to say, they put a name to it. There may be leaps and lages, but I don't recall a group labeled rear of the type that you're saying, a sobriquet and a position going with a group, and it appears to be from an internal perspective. You don't really know if it is or if it isn't because it's anonymous. I mean, you really don't know if it's the UNC at work or otherwise. I've noticed quite a lot of uptick in some social media attacks from whom I consider to be the UNC on different topics. Every time we get close to a court date, certain matters pop up, etc. The fact is that we're in the age of social media, and social media allows a very different approach that would cause things to be, we use the term viral, and then, you know, people love bacchanal. So the more salacious it is the more the appetite there is for it.
But question, Chairman, why not the audit? Why not the auditing of the membership list? Two, you said that the elections will be held 1 week before the convention. Is it that the members of the PNM will trust that there will be no rigging because there's no auditing when it takes place? And two, if it is that they're going to do the voting, when people trust, the members of the PNM will trust the voting at that point in time?
But can I start off by saying I said none of what you just said at all?
You didn't say that for the auditing.
Let me deal with what you just said. You said that there will be that from, because I didn't say that.
Well, you didn't mention it in your.
You asked the question. I said that there would be an elections supervisory committee. The constitution of the PNM establishes something called a membership screening committee. The membership screening committee is comprised of 15 people. 15 people receive forms for membership. Those forms are considered by a committee. That committee reports to the central executive body. The central executive body then publishes the names of people who are added to the list. That is then brought to the General Council. The hard copy is then produced. People are put onto the list. To get off the list, you have to be thrown out by a resolution. You have to resign or you have to die. Those are the three ways you come off the list. And then that is made public as well. The Election Supervisory Committee audits the list itself. And that's a 17-person committee. And that's why I told you there were 17 people for an Election Supervisory Committee, which has to then deal with a list. So I don't know respectfully where you got the there will be no audit and none of those things, but perhaps it's because I haven't explained the process by which you become a member, how transparent it is, and then what the Election Supervisory Committee does. So to be clear, the Election Supervisory Committee will receive the list, and every constituency will receive that list in hard copy, in electronic copy, and they will go through it, and they will scrutinize it, and they will make their observations, and then it will come back, and then a final list of electors is prepared, just like it's done with the EBC. So that's, I think that you've made the point how salacious information and news carries fast. Because there's this perception that there's some rigging and lack of trust. No, no, no. We have a constitution and a whole committee. We're in a place where you know where to find us. It's called Balisier House. There's an institution of the PNM. We just lost an election comprehensively, but at least you know where to find us. And you know where 100,000 people are, they're home. And they said quite loudly, we're not voting for you. We are not happy with what happens. The party is in reflective measure. It must be because we lost an election. But there is a need as well for us to speak and for the political leadership to speak apart from the leader of the opposition. Because if you saw the press conference by Minister Gonzalez today, past Minister Gonzalez, forgive me, he was very comprehensive. in demonstrating a number of facts instantly. There was this very bold statement from the current Minister of Public Utilities, Minister Padara, saying that in 2015, there was 70-something% of 24/7 water for all. Not a shred of evidence. We scoured the whole of Wasta looking for that information, but it's just said with aplomb. And, you know, lots of salacious things come. So the need for response to calibrate things is there. Of course, how you measure your response in the environment that you're in and how you're clothed with responsibility is important. That's why we consider, and my own personal view is that the leader of the opposition should have the ability to be the political leader so that we're speaking with unanimity, not only in Parliament, but also from the party's perspective.
In terms of, you know, this post-mortem, is there a procedure for the parties agreed on?
The party is already engaged in its respective constituency postmortems. I mean, in San Fernando West, we've done ours. San Fernando West, for instance, the seat that I just lost and held for 10 years. San Fernando West demonstrated that Dr. Dowlat, whom I congratulate again for winning that seat, won the seat with a vote lower than the loser normally takes. Point is, my people just didn't turn up. So 7,100 beat 6,700 or whatever the figures were. A couple hundred votes separated us. But both of us received the lowest votes ever. Those votes were lower than a 1971 vote, where there was a stay-home campaign. So it is demonstrative of a lot in our society. The point for me is I lost, and comprehensively so, because I couldn't convince, the PNM could not convince its people to turn up. And therefore, there was a post-mortem and a reflective point. The one thing that you take away as you convince yourself there is still chance and facility to move ahead. So you know where people are, they just stay at home. In 2020, the victor was, that was me in San Fernando, was 8,600 or so in 20, and that was COVID. In 2015, it was 10,000. And the losers were all under 7,000, well, 7,002 or somewhere around there. So what you got was a comprehensive stay home. Not something to, again, I'm not running away from the fact that it's a loss. You have to accept reality. A loss is a loss. The point is that the reflection of the party, in answering your question, Sean, yes, there is, all of our parties' elements are in reflective mode. There's no need for a formality in the process because we are engaged in it.
Well, the thing is, the question is, do voters vote on local issues and do they vote for candidates? And you know,
But those,
because the question is, my actual thing is that they don't. I don't think they do for the national TV vote. I don't, because I know my MP to be the nicest person in the world, but when the whip is laid down in Parliament, when the vote is called for whatever it is, he's voting with what is voted in. So, the thing, and also there are national issues of concern rather than local level, that's my road or you know, so I'm saying that a party is serious. The party has to do an overall.
we are engaged in that process to answer the question. And you raise some very important points, but the question is, who is the voter? In different constituencies, that is comprised of many different buckets. In San Fernando West, for example, of 25,000 people, 11,500 live in HTC. 3,700 live in squatting. The rest live in upper and middle class. So they're very different views across the constituencies. In fact, I advanced my vote in the middle and upper class areas in Gulfview and other places. But the vote that stayed home was very much on local issues in fairly depressed areas. So there will be different outcomes for different MPs and different situations. And the simple point in answer to your question is, you asked whether there was a analysis going on. Yes, there is. The General Council itself is not in the habit of having that. Each constituency does that. And then the election machinery reports. Remember, we've got deputy political leaders for election matters. Those posts are vacant at present. So that's why the reconstitution of the leadership was the subject of focus here, because when the political leader is appointed, you'll get the 3 deputy political leaders appointed as well. Election matters, etc., etc. So we need our posts back in position.
But there was something that you said, sentences ago about the being in a new age, you know, that we're in this online age and people are
Yes.
copying and their fake profiles and that. And we're extremely good some of us that, well, you know, I could invent a phrase, an analog campaign being run in a digital era. That's what it seems to be in terms of like not a responsiveness that you have. So you might have certain set game plans or even certain designs, like designs of posters, designs of t-shirts, sloganeering, so they've been set, but you may have an opposition which is very, very responsive and actually looking ahead and proactive, very much more proactive, much more young. So
Pardon? Yes. There's no gainsaying the truth in that. I mean, that is plain and clear. The one thing about the PNM is that after you've had your discussions and democracy goes to work, and the democracy yields a leader, a position, and a structure, you have 2 choices. Leave if you think you can't take it, or comply. And when you comply, you comply. The compliance resulted in a loss. Full stop. There are a lot of things that are very true in what you just said. There are a lot of things that the party definitely needs to improve on. But the fact that we have the ability to improve it can be perhaps seen in campaigns past, where we did phenomenally well on media and other areas, etc. On this occasion, we didn't, and it showed. Sure. Oh no, I didn't mean to convey that. Yes, it's why one of these officers, for instance, is a social media officer. That's definitely so. It's why we're streaming live at this point right now. There's truth in all of that. And that's the reason that we're on this occasion today. It's important for us to take the steps to constitute the leadership of the party. These 16 officers from the chairman, political leader come down. So once your backbone is in place, you can flesh your skeleton out and get working.
If there's going to be a slate, anybody will put up a slate, and when the party agree to not have no slates and everybody work individually.
The good news about Trinidad and Tobago is that we are a democracy. Democracy means you're entitled to be democratic. I couldn't answer whether you could have a slate or not.
No, but slate have been mashing up, have been having division in the party since basically from when it was in the money deals and Rowley. Then it reached to Rowley and Penny, and now it's reaching now to probably Stewart and probably Penny, because if you are trade your supporter, you are publicly saying that. Yeah. And the election is not even, well, the election is on, as you were saying, then let me say if Mr. Stewart is offering himself up and he decides not to go with a slate, but he will jump on a slate with Miss Penny, wouldn't that not cause a further division in the party?
Again, you have some presuppositions that I don't know where they come from. Slates have been mashing up. Really? Dr. Rowley ran a slate and comprehensively won and then won governments back to back, 10 years of government. So the facts I just don't agree with.
No, but people would have been supporting, people would have been supporting Penny.
I think you got my point. I was able to immediately demonstrate the fallacy of what you proposed, not in a derogatory way. I was telling you that your approach to the question was slates mashing up.
Yeah.
There's a history, right? I don't agree. I have evidence otherwise. But my simple point to you is that in a democracy, you can't tell somebody, well, you can't have a slate, or you can't do this. And this is a democracy, and the PNM, which is the origination of our independence and our republicanism, we would never dare to tell people how they ought to be democratic and how they ought to practice it. That is the point, is you have a clean and fair election, and you would hope that it's a respectable one. Let me ask you something. Can you point to a single seriously negative statement I, as a person in political life for 15 years, having run in 3 elections, won 2 and lost 1, have you ever heard me make a derogatory statement of my competitor? I've never done it,
No.
and I never will, because it's not my style. My opponents say everything under the sun about me, but I don't take the bait. I've been respectable in 15 years of being in Parliament. I've been as respectable as I can. And my parliamentary term has ended, but in my general elections, I never once said, I might give a little pick on, but I never took somebody's family or name or profession or ability into a gutter. Never.
Can I ask you, what's the thought? Is the party provided to the people who lost the, and when I say lost, not just people who lost their seats, but people who have lost an esteem and, have to adjust to a new status, new salaries, new everything. What sort of psychologically must be, because some of these people who have not been in opposition, some of these more people have been in opposition. So we have been talking about but there are some people who have not been in opposition before. It's their first time, and they will cherish our friends. So
Very, very interesting, humane question. We try to be there for each other. Yes, I've been in opposition before and I've taken the brunt of the might of the PP for 5 years. I recall so many allegations against me, and they continue till today. And the skin, you're not born with thick skin, it slowly develops a little bit thicker until you learn. I have had the advantage of also being a lawyer, so I'm accustomed to how I treat with those things. And I can tell you, we lost the election on Monday. I went to work on Wednesday. I rejoined my legal practice on Wednesday and moved into my office, and I got busy. We're not lucky, you make your own fortune, right? A lawyer is as lucky as what? What guarantee you have in clients coming at you? But you got to turn up to work. So it's for everybody to do that. It's quite interesting how people throw this term lucky around, almost as if there isn't any effort behind the work that goes in there. You have to earn what you do, and you take your blows. So your point, however, that there are many people, our concern as politicians really is for the many people behind us. There are 10,000 CPEP workers, 10,000 URP workers, 2,700 forestry workers, daily paid workers. There are thousands of contract workers. There are managers who were just told at a news conference by Minister Padarat yesterday, well, all they're gone, right? Just like that. So this is not about 41 people in Parliament or 22 in our case, which was reduced to 21. Our concern, and many people have reached out to me professionally already, worried about their fate in life. And that's where you got to double down and stand your ground, because you have to remember that they supported an ideology and a position. In my case, I'll tell you a little something here this evening. When I came into the office of the Attorney General in 2015, I inherited an entire staff from AG Ram Logan. Nicholas was there for a couple of months. Everybody that was working for Anna Ram Logan is still working in the AG's office. My personal secretary was Anna Ram Logan's personal secretary. She left temporarily while she had her kids, and she joined the government again. Every single officer and person on contract who was in that office stayed. I didn't dismiss a single person. That's not the case right now. I understand that there are mass firings. I understand that people are being threatened. So whereas I operated the AG's office in a very different way, I'm not so sure that that will continue in other ministries and other places. So our concern, apart from our colleagues, some of whom are less experienced and a little bit shell-shocked, our concern is really for the people behind us, which is why we would like to unite the office of political leader and leader of opposition, so that you can have a voice for people. You step into politics to be an advocate and to be a voice for people who don't have a voice, who are afraid to speak. And there are many people who are afraid to speak. because they're afraid if they open their mouths, they're being victim of persecution. I have to tell you this. I find it astounding in law for a minister to be meeting with employees of entities. A minister interrogating the contracts one by one of employees in a state enterprise. That is a subrogation, and that is a removal of the statutory authority that boards of directors have or boards of governors have. You have limits in law that you have to be very careful about. Look at the situation with Minister Tanku, providing a legitimate expectation, you could argue. No property tax, you will get your return. And then the Prime Minister, when asked, well, when people get their return, the answer was talk to Tanku. That ain't happening. That is madness in terms of expectation that may be legitimate or not in law. So you got to keep a very keen eye on what is going on. A minister's role is in relation to certain policy decisions. Go and look at Section 85 of the Constitution and be guided by Section 85 of the Constitution. You cannot go and micromanage contracts and employments and people like that. I just say that you're going to be in serious trouble if you continue along that road. And that's where the fear of employees, etc., are coming in the droves towards us, which is why we would like to have our political leadership in place so that people's voices can come to you in confidence and that you can speak to them. I couldn't speak to whether there'd be an army of lawyers, but I have always been a lawyer for the PNM, as you know. So since 2010, I've been in court. I never stopped practicing law for the last 15 years, as you know. 10 years, I wrote the law and practiced the law, because up to the day of the election, I was still with litigation responsibility, as you know, on matters that the then Attorney General Armour had recused on. So I've never left the law, and I'm certainly going to be there. And I have enjoyed my practice of law. There are others that are of equal mind, and we will just take it forward. The legal environment is very different, you know. You have to remember that we have a public procurement law. That public procurement law is not a simple creature, and it does allow for public scrutiny in the courts, in challenge proceedings and other things that are going to be very significant. You should keep your eyes on that. I'm not saying that in any threatening way. I'm saying that I felt very comforted that the public procurement law was in existence because it insulated me as a functionary in government. Because no minister has any part or parcel of these sorts of things, right? You have PDAC committees and you have other things, say the UPR, etc. So that also allows for people to challenge things that are going on. I noticed the Minister of Works and Infrastructure saying openly that there were 118 projects to be done. The first question I got was from people saying, well, how could they have chosen contractors already? I said, don't jump the gun. There's a process by which these things happen. So you got to be fair in how you look at these things, but you have to comply with the law as well. What I am particularly concerned about on the limb of the army of lawyers, we're going to go into a mid-year review shortly. And whomever is in Parliament is going to have to defend the position of what was. And you know how this game is going to go. There'll be exposés and ahas. And I mean, I participated in enough litigation in 2010 to 2015, all of which collapsed under the UNC, to know how that cycle runs. Not the first time I've seen that horror movie. I know that sequel of what it will look like. But these are things that you have to keep your eyes on. And that's where, again, people that don't have the wherewithal to defend themselves are going to be fair. And those are the voices that we've been getting, which urge the General Council today to hurry up and have its internal election.
Mr. Saris, back with the internal election, you will have mentioned, let me see if I get clear, that they will have the elections 1 week before the actual convention,
The ballot.
the ballot, and it will be done in the various 41 constituencies.
Yes.
People are asking online, why not at the convention, where they could see, because apparently people don't trust the process of having it in the 41 constituencies. But at the convention, like what it had last time, people voted at the convention itself, so that they could see the people who actually coming out to vote and not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Allow me,
Right.
but allow me to again dispute your facts. We have always, since the one man, one vote,
Mhm.
we have had this in the 41 constituencies. So it's not new. The ballot was in fact taken over several days in the 41 constituencies, over 2 days. I recall vividly when I ran, I got 10,000 something votes across 41 constituencies over 2 days. So again, the facts are off. So perhaps I know that you're reading from the online comments, but those are not the facts. The one man, one vote that we've had, we have done it in 41 constituencies under the supervision of the Election Supervisory Committee. And there's a full scrutineering, etc. Just like it's a polling day. When you go on those days, it's just like you go to the EBC voting in regular positions. So I'm confident that it will withstand scrutiny. Yeah. So folks, I think we've done a lot. I've not heard a single question from Julie Brown. But I will take that as a Richard Lord. So thank you all very much for being here this evening. Happy Friday to you, and thanks for covering the news. I did not mention Gail Alexander, but of course I wanted to, right? Thank you very much. Good evening. Yes, 3. Thank you all, folks.
No problem.
Chrissy, thank you from yeah, so the Constitution says that you have to have we did the ballot in the previous years. Every time.
But
Counted the ballots to cast at the convention. No, you do special ballot. Oh.
yes. Well, there you have it. There you have it. The elections will be on the 29th of June. The 29th of June. Now, we also have to talk on the line. Hey, good night. So the 29th of June will be the elections, and hey, good night. Yeah, the 29th of June will be the elections, and they said that the election committee will be doing the audit report, basically sanitizing the list, making sure that all the persons who are members and who join the party is actually members and all these different things. So they're going to make sure that all that is in place, and then we will have the elections as no. But no, I'm walking home. But let me just change the camera back here to me a little bit. So we could, right. So that, there you have it, there you have it. The 29th of June is the election. There will be no audit as what people may want, but the audit will be done through the election committee, and it will be the same 17 people that was retained, that was supposed to, when they were supposed to have the election the last time. And he talking to the man. He talking to the man. Yeah. Yeah, we talked to him after just now. Yeah. And no, we talked to him just now. But I think I think a number of people, well, I know it's gonna be confusing, and a lot of people will be asking a lot of questions still um on this whole election. But let's wait and see how it plays out. I know a number of people are going to be disenchanted in what they would have heard this afternoon. Some would be happy, but nomination day will be then set. Who want to enter the election race could enter the election race. And yeah, and who want to enter the election race could enter the election race. And they said anybody could offer up themselves onto slate, so you could go up on a slate if you want to go up on a slate. No, well, they said no, they're not stopping that from happening. And so let's see how it goes. Let me just, we're going to just do a little short interview here with now the, well, was the candidate, now the MP. Let me, for Laventil East Mover, let me just switch it so that you could see the new MP for, well, I think we're going to get sworn in first and all different things next week. So tell me, how has it been? This is Mr. Christian Birchwood. I don't know why it's called Birchwood. You know, they play football.
No, you will exchange and
Well, no, because he had a name close to Birchwood, you know, well, the footballer. But tell us how, being again coming into this election. Well, now we in opposition. How does it feel that you're in the opposition side and not being in the government, on the government side, to be able to do more work for your community at this point in time?
Well, first and foremost, my decision to enter in the political arena was one rooted in service. So whether I'm in government or I'm in opposition, the objective is still to serve the people of Laventil East Mover, and that's exactly what I intend to do. No matter how difficult it may be, or no matter how difficult people may presume it will be, the intention is to serve.
But we would have heard your story, and it was the first time people would have heard your story on in Laventil, in Success Laventil and
Laventil East, right? Laventil East Mover.
No, when it was in Success.
Okay.
And you
right.
spoke about your journey
Yes.
from childhood to adulthood.
Yeah.
I mean to say, I was like, what? But and you actually persevered and you come. What? How does that inspire the other youths in the community at this point in time? Do they look up and they say, "Hey, this is a person that we can mentor, well, have as a mentor, or as a big brother kind of scenario"?
Well, that generally is that's what inspired me to step forward. A lot of people would have, but I could personally say I didn't understand the real power of my story and my tribulations. And if I'm being honest, it is no different to many in Trinidad and Tobago, right? What we want to focus on and what I would like the young people to focus on is the possibilities that are afforded to you. No matter the darkness, no matter what you're going through, you're currently going through, you have to focus on the possibilities only. The positivity and the possibilities only. Because I always ask myself, what if I can do this? Jealousy was not something for me, because obviously, you're growing up in a particular environment, you're seeing a lot of different people with things, human instinct maybe to get jealous. I use it as inspiration.
Right.
what can I do to better myself? What avenues are there? And if I'm being quite honest with you, the People's National Movement, based on a lot of the policies that they would have implemented, is what actually got me here today. So it's from box lunch all the way to tertiary education.
Well, nothing wrong with the boxer.
Nothing is wrong with it. That's what I'm saying. From box lunch all the way to tertiary education is what actually got me here today.
Yeah.
Right? PNM policy. Good PNM policy.
But
Other policy that has been thrown away as well. Remember the one where Patrick Manning come with the box garden,
the good box.
the grow box?
Yeah.
I found that was so fantastic for everybody to start.
But in terms of you now elevating into the well, they're going to Parliament on the 23rd.
Friday.
That will be this Friday. So you'll be making your maiden your maiden entrance into the legislature. How do you feel in that aspect? That's one. And two, with the internal elections coming, would you be offering up yourself in this internal elections?
Well, I'm excited. That's what I would say. Anything new comes a feeling of nervousness, a feeling of excitement, a feeling of anxiety, and those are usually associated with something that you know is meaningful. So I'm excited and happy. Can't wait until that time comes. And in terms of the internal elections, no, I will not be offering myself. Right? What me being a new MP, I intend to obviously do my best and lean on the experience of the PNM, the more experienced PNM members, and develop myself. And obviously, the objective is to continue providing service to the people I love until it's over, and will Trinidad and Tobago at large.
Well, okay, Mr. Birchwood.
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 I know
Just
difficult.
remember
I know difficult.
Just remember what again.
Mr. Birchwood.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you, and
sir.
well, I'm going to see you around in the politics, and
Yes,
I
sir.
know come Friday next week, well, I'll be by the Parliament, and we will see the new MP going into the Parliament to represent the people
And don't forget
of Mover, well, Laventille East Mover.
Yes. Yes. I look forward to it, and thank you very much for your time.
All right, congratulations again.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Devon, switch off from it.
All right, so we're gonna take a little break.
No, I'm going. I have to go keep my dog.
Yeah, we're going out. So we're gonna be shutting off from here. Ah boy, I don't know who's calling me. I don't know why they're calling me at this time. And they're not stopping, you know. Yeah. So we will be shutting off from here, and we will see you all on the other side. Look out, like, subscribe, and we will tell you when is the next, which will be on Monday. So according to how things go over the Saturday and the Sunday, but Monday night we're going to have our live, and we will be dealing with we'll go more in depth into the press conference and what we took from it from today. So have a blessed night, and see you all on the other side. So let me just sign out, and see you all next week, Monday.